The folded corner clipper, designed by Susan Nelson of the Prairie Sky Quilting Company, is now under the Creative Grids umbrella. That means it's the same great product, the same great markings, with the addition of the grip on the back, which is the Creative Grids claim to fame. You can use this tool to create blocks such as cornered rectangles, flying geese, diamond in a square, or snowball blocks. And now I'm going to show you how to create those blocks. When I am doing this folded corner method, I'm going to take a rectangle, for instance, to do a folded rectangle, and I'm going to lay the square on top so they adjoin on two edges. The tool has a 1/4 inch blunt tip at the top, and the markings go up the side 1/4 inch as well. So when I place that here, you can see that it lines up with the top here. That line on the side lines up on the side of that square, and then I can cut this. What I'm essentially doing is cutting before I'm sewing, and this is helping me determine my 1/4 inch seam allowance so I can be accurate. So once I make this cut, I'm going to have a set of triangles that are already right side together that I can then sew into a half square triangle, and I can come back and sew this to create my cornered rectangle. So I'm going to show you how this works. I take this to the sewing machine and I sewed right here, and see how my seam is lying up exactly at the top and the bottom because these are blunt points. So now I can press this over, and I don't have that waste of fabric by having those additional layers there, and I have a perfect cornered rectangle. Now if I want to cut a whole series of half square triangles, I put my fabric right sides together, and I can place the ruler on here. This is a 3-inch strip, so I can place it here and see how this nests right in this base right here. This is a blunt tip at the corner, and now I can cut this, and I'll continue to rotate the ruler 180 degrees and make additional cuts, and I continue to cut an entire strip with no waste of fabric. Once I have those cut, or the little bonus triangle I got right from here, they're already right sides together. So I can take those to my sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam and turn them all into half square triangles very quickly and easily. But once I've done this, I may want to trim them to a different size. So one of my favorite features of the tool is I can take the 1/4 inch solid line that is on this edge and place it on my seam line, and you see how this nests right here? I can trim up the side and over the top and trim them all, so now this is going to be a perfect 3-inch half square triangle when I press that open. And if you notice, the tails are removed. So you can use this tool also to cut your angled edges when you are making a binding. So in this case, my binding is 2 1/4 inches. The tool does every size from 1 inch to 5 inches and every 1/4 inch in between. And once again, I'll have a blunt tip here and a blunt tip there. When I'm doing this, both of my fabrics are right side up. So I'm going to take this and cut this angle. I am left-handed, so you would be doing it in the opposite way. And see, when I go to sew these together, then I can take this and line it up. This blunt tip here, I'll place this even with that, and this blunt tip even with the top. And once again, I can sew across that diagonal. And since using this tool for the first time, my strips are actually coming out so they're exactly even at the top and the bottom. I don't have to draw any lines with the pencil to use as my sewing line. It works perfectly with the tool. The blunt ends mean that I don't have any of those tails sticking out, and everything works beautifully. So use this tool to cut anything from 1 to 5 inches, and you'll be glad you did.